Hello, hello, everybody. We are now live here from my home in Northern England on another grey May English day. Just as they come, some of the days in May are beautiful and sunny, and some of the days in May are rather cold and a little bit grey. And today we're having a grey day, so it's a perfect day for you to grab yourself a cup of tea, no matter where you are, sit back and enjoy this presentation in the online teaching show from the 7th to the 9th of May. So it's the 9th of May today, and I'm welcoming you all to this presentation, which is the last formal presentation before our Q&A, which is happening at 2 p.m. BST, that's British Summer Time today. And right now it's 12 British Summer Time, and I really just want to welcome you guys. I'll hang around a few seconds to just give you some time to get settled and settle in and start out. And in the meantime, may I just invite you and really encourage you to take advantage of the online teaching show discounts page. I checked this morning to see how many people had entered our sweepstakes, and bearing in mind that there are 200 people registered on the Facebook event, I would absolutely encourage and love you to participate in this. And we've only had 35 entries so far. Come on, there's 11 prizes. Get in, get your chances up of winning these prizes. There are places on my Udemy course, which you'll hear about later. There is a one-to-one Teacherpreneur Boost session. And this isn't just some kind of session. This is actually 3-hour sessions in one with Lena Mutsunono, and she has put that into the sweepstakes for you guys. So if you want really outstanding teacher training, then you could just win it. And finally, you will receive an email invitation when Gabby and I recap our marketing strategy 101 for online teachers presentation, which I'm very, very sorry we have had to cancel, and I've kind of taken over that slot with lessons on brand consistency and brand strategy today because I've been poorly sick. It's what happens sometimes. So that's life, and we're chilled out. We're doing this. So if you can see me, just going to give you a little screen share and tell you what I'm looking at here, so you get an idea of what Kirsten's screens look like. I've got 2 screens, so I will try and look at you as much as possible, but ultimately you will be seeing my slides. And when this happens, I will share this screen with you. This is my other screen, where I really want to just show you the show discounts page, which runs as follows. You've got the prizes here, and this here is where you click to enter. And all you have to put in really is tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you teaching already, or are you new to teaching? Put in your name, put in your email address, and if you have got a favorite blog, tell us about your favorite blog or business book, because I always love hearing from people about this, and it just gives me a little bit of a flavor of who's watching this. So I'm really excited when I see these kind of things. And here are all of our events special offers. The Savvy Brand Toolkit, which is my 4 handbook, 4 video toolkit for you to prepare your real unique online teacher brand, and it's tried and tested and comes with a private Facebook group membership as well, where people are so supportive and really wonderful. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm giving you half price off with a special offer where you can save loads of money, and all you have to do is click on that, enter the code show, and party. Then you can get the course Attract Authentic Views on YouTube. It's a brand new course from Gabby. It's actually so new that what you're getting here is the early bird price of $17. What? $17. Okay, like nothing. And finally, Lena, these 2 sessions are both live sessions, so bear this in mind. They are the customized, unique to you sessions where she will sit down with you and really sort your stuff out with you. So already I'm completely blown away by what everybody's thrown in. And what we're seeing here is my little Facebook screen. So this is hopefully where I will see you and your comments. So let's refresh the screen and see if anybody's actually said hello yet. Probably not. So this is what it should look like for you. This is what it should look like for me. And then eventually, when you guys arrive, when you guys wake up and join me, or hopefully do, just this is where you type in your comments. So you go, hello, Kirsten, we're watching you, everything's brilliant. And that is how this works. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing my screen with you now. And just make you aware, every now and then I will sort of look over on my other screen and just make sure I'm still up to date with everything that's happening. Okay, so the presentation I am sharing with you today and the knowledge I'm sharing with you today is actually about, it's called How to Deliver Amazing Online Lessons. And to me, an amazing online lesson is not something that I can really tell you how to deliver as such, because it is always about the partnership between you and your student. It's about the partnership between you and that person who is studying with you, who's enjoying the partnership and the relationship with you. So if you're watching this together, think about what you're promising your students and what you're bringing in. All right, and let's get this presentation on the road. Oops, oops, I'm just going to click a few buttons, as you always do. And here it comes. So if you are watching this presentation, would you please just comment or give me a little shout and just let me know if you can see the slide fine. That would be really helpful, just so I know I'm showing you the right slide and everything is ready to go. And I'm just going to scroll down here on my mouse to make sure I can see you guys. Hello, Barbara. Hello. It's our first live participant today. And be aware that I will actually pose you a challenge throughout the presentation. So, Barbara, please just confirm if you can see my slides. That would be absolutely lovely of you. And then we're going to get this show on the road. It's a clicking, frantic clicking. Awesome, right. I am going to enter into the presentation now. We can see the opening slide. Hello, Bob. Hello, Barbara. I'm very, very glad to have you guys participating, and I really hope that I'm going to present a lot of value to you. I hope you can hear me well, hope you can see me well. So we're talking about lessons on brand consistency, and the real important word that I think exists for you here is the word consistency, and that is what I want to talk to you about today. So let me just get to the right screen and switch on. So today, there are two main objectives that I have for you in this hour. And we're going to identify what your brand is, or at least I'll help you kind of start out on identifying what this brand word means and what that means for you. And secondly, how do you show it in a way that makes people apply to work with you? Think of yourself as almost a university. So imagine if you were Oxbridge, they don't really need to do a lot of advertising. The people just apply anyway because they have such a good name. So how do you get to the stage where your name is so good and so well known that people apply to work with you? And that, I think, is what a good brand, which basically means a good reputation, a good name, can deliver for you, can get going for you. So let's have a look at brand. I'm just going to refresh my screen. It does take a lot of refreshing, doesn't it? It's a refreshing experience. Okay. So what is a brand? Ultimately, a brand is the sum of all the promises that you make to your students. It's everything that people think about you. It's not really so much about what you think about yourself. It's much more about what other people perceive about you. So that is your brand. How do people actually see you? What promises are you making your future students? What promises are you making to your current students? And it's really about what they think about you. So just bear that in mind as we process through this, as we progress through this presentation. Brand is the sum of the promises that you make to your students, to your customers. Okay, so because the reason somebody is going to ultimately give their time up to work with you and give you their money is because there is a promise and they trust that you can deliver on that promise. So moving on. What is it that you want your promise to be? And in the next few slides, we're going to have a look at some examples of promises made by real language teachers on the internet, just to see what kind of, where I see those promises coming out. And yeah, how you don't have to use the words, I promise you that you will have a great lesson with me, but instead the ways that you communicate those different perceptions and those different ideas. Here are some words that I see an awful lot in language teachers' descriptions of themselves. And hands up or comment on Facebook if you are currently on one of your profiles, say if you're on Italki or you're on Wyzant or you're one of the many, many other directories or on your website, which of these words are you using for yourself? I'm just going to give you a few minutes to check yourself before you wreck yourself, is what people say. But, you know, check yourself against this list. Qualified, fun, effective, valuable, professional, interesting, and different. Which ones of these are you using for yourself right now? And if you're feeling brave, just pop into Facebook, comment on the thread and let me know, and I'll give you a few seconds just to do that. All right, I know it's eerily quiet as you process through this exercise, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of quiet. And we do have a delay always on these little videos. So if your answers are coming in a little bit late, I will still catch up with these. It won't be a problem. But you definitely be aware, and if you're not brave enough to pop yourself into Facebook, or if you're just watching this later, you know, participate later and really let us know, because they're not dangerous words, they're not bad words at all. It's not a bad thing if you have these words in your profiles. Just be aware, these are really common promise words, and students as well as you see these a lot. So if you want to stand out and say you're calling yourself qualified, and everybody's calling themselves qualified, just think about what that might mean to your market ultimately. All right, so qualified, fun, and effective. Now, here are a few other ways that you can set expectations. This is from lindsaydoeslanguages.com. Lindsay is a British English native speaker, and she actually teaches, I believe she does most of her work in Spanish, and works with English native speakers as well. And she also works in French, and Lindsay's got a fantastic little blog as well. Now, I really like her page header. So before you even read many words on his website at all, she's already giving you two really important messages that tell you something about, am I going to hire this tutor? Is this the right person for me? Is this the right teacher for me? And those important messages are, she's friendly, and you can tell by the way that it's you know, there's a little smiley, waving, cartoony Lindsay, going hello. And that's really, really important, right? Because Lindsay set expectations here about what kind of things people can expect from her when they first get in touch with her. So she's a friendly person, she's not scary. It's not like how you learned it in school. And secondly, the name of the company, Lindsay Does Languages, right? This is the thing that I do. This is part of my identity. So what she's saying there as well is, I am really passionate about the subject. So you have somebody here who has just really committed to teaching languages, as opposed to what else you might get in this country. You may just get after school classes with people who are less dedicated to making things fun and more dedicated to helping you pass an exam. But this isn't exam focused. This is about making languages fun and sharing your passion. So the promise is entirely different to what you might get from a kind of dry company. Secondly, here we have Leandra, and this is Leandra from ESL Barbados, who's actually participating in our event, and I really hope that eventually she'll catch up with us. And what I found really interesting, so there is a lot more to process here. And again, I've just taken a small screenshot from this website. And Leandra's main promise that students perceive from this lesson, from this website, apologies, is that her lessons are conversation focused. I'm sorry, I'm still a bit ill, aren't I? It's about speaking English fluently. And here comes the word fluency again. It's also about relieving frustrations. So there is an emotional appeal to the frustrations, which is underscored and underlined by a video, a friendly video, where this calm lady, which is Leandra, tells you all about how she will help you, and she really takes you through it step by step. So I think that was really great. She talks about her own experience. So again, if we're going back to those words, professional, qualified, fun, different, these are all ways of proving that you are professional and that you are dedicated and that you are different, without even having to say the words. You're sending the message without saying the words. I think that's really, really interesting. So the promises she makes is this lesson is going to be conversation focused, which as a student I would perceive as, oh, there's not going to be that many books. We're not going to focus on, you know, grades. We're not going to focus on vocabulary. She won't force me through grammatical drills. And she also says, well, I know how to do this job. And she proves this in her video. And finally, this I really found very interesting. This is back to Lindsay's page. Lindsay Does Languages. And Lindsay answers the 4 core questions here. So this is more trust building, and this is something that you can kind of take onto your websites as well. So the lesson plans will be created around you, your wants, your needs, your abilities. When will you learn? When you like. How will I learn? I'll give you a demo. I'll show you how it works. Who will I learn with? Well, hello, I'm Lindsay. I love languages, exclamation point. Lindsay does languages. She's just into it. So again, we stick with this sort of unusual graphic display. It's not the usual, oh, here is the boring stuff, the business stuff, but instead the whole way she has arranged this information, the way she's kept it quite short, sticks with that message that she made at the start, is you're gonna have fun. This is about you, and this is not intimidating. Like the little cartoon character Lindsay, none of this is intimidating. So I really, really like these different messages as examples of what we have, what you can see from the different teacher pages. And I really encourage you to look at your own page in the same way and just kind of think about, okay, what kind of promises am I making here and how can I keep those promises? So we have just kind of, I'm just going to catch up with the Facebook comments from you guys. Barbara says, I'm not using any of these words above. So Barbara, it would be really interesting to think about, would you want to use any of those? Are those any of the things you want to communicate about yourself? And if you already do, how do you do it? And Bob says, I'm professional and qualified, which are great words. So we can think about how can you take that one step further and show it in the language that you use, in the images that you use. And like you've seen with Leandra in the slide above, these are this is a great way, I think, of demonstrating that you are professional and you are qualified. If you just have a small, calm, promising video that just tells students what to expect. Right, let's get me to the right slide. Here's my challenge to you. Can you find the quirkiest, craziest word or image to describe your work and your style? So again, here's another challenge. And if you are watching live, then please pop into the Facebook page. It's Online Teaching Show on Facebook. There's a pin thread right at the top where I'm waiting to hear your comments. And tell me, what is the quirkiest word or image to describe your work and style? So for example, this morning, I was described on a fellow podcast by a fellow podcaster as outspoken. Which I found very interesting. So maybe I am outspoken, and certainly how I think about myself is somebody who is a little bit ranty and rambly and opinionated. So I have my opinions about how this works, and I try to be very no nonsense, and that is part of what I would consider my brand of Fluent. And when you get emails from Fluent, they always say at the top, no nonsense help for language learners, because I don't want to give any wrong recipes. I just want to tell people what I think works. So what is the quirkiest, craziest, most unusual, not professional qualified? What else are you beyond that? Just gonna take a little sip of water here. Oh, these Facebook comments. Ah, Bob, these are wonderful words. He says, relaxed and patient. So we have gone from professional and qualified, which almost every teacher says they are, to relaxed and patient. And then think about how that could make the student feel and how you can work that into your promise to students and how you can work that into who you are. That really sets you apart, because relaxed and patient, on the grand scheme of things, probably not the first thing, for example, I would say about myself. So this is, I'm much more cheery and a little bit hyper in lessons. So if you can take that on to say your promise to a student, say, I'm going to make you feel relaxed. There's you don't have to have the nerves in this lesson. You don't have to feel nervous. I think that's really important, and it's a really wonderful word. I'm so glad that you use that. So relaxed and patient is a wonderful word to be using here. And so like I said, this is my challenge to you. Find the quirkiest image, the quirkiest word that you can use for yourself. I'm sorry, guys. I do work off one computer. That has two screens, so usually I'm having a fantastic Facebook time, but today it's just a little bit, just like me, with my little illness, it's a little bit slow. Bob says, I'm not very exciting or quirky because I'm half asleep. But I don't see, the thing is, we don't have to be exciting and quirky. I think relaxed is actually a pretty quirky word to use for a teacher. Not many people use that as the first choice, and it comes a lot under qualified and professional and all this other stuff that we say about ourselves. But it's actually getting much more at the emotional and the nerves and the way people feel about their lessons. So I think it's a way more important one. Okay, so this remains my challenge to you. Find a really quirky word or image to describe your style and your work and how you work. So these are all just words until you show what they mean for your student and how you will keep the promise. Okay, and I just want to introduce you to a few promise boosters. So these are various different ways in which I recommend that you boost your promise. So whatever value promise you're making to the student, you're saying to them, hey, you know, come and work with me. I'm the right person for you to be working with. I'm going to be dedicated to your success. I'm going to make you feel relaxed. I'm going to be patient for you. I'm going to be supportive and with you until you get to that point. Here are some ways that you can use these different promise boosters to make people understand where you're coming from and make them trust you more. So because we all know if somebody comes up to you in the street and says, hey, I've got a car for sale, it's fantastic, it's the best car ever, it's so cheap, it's got everything's paid for, it hasn't died in ages and ages, that's all very interesting, but we're not going to believe them as much as we believe somebody that we trust more, that we know. So it's about people knowing you now. Okay, so it's to the common marketing line that a lot of marketers will tell you. It's that people have to know you, then they have to like you, then they have to trust you, and then they might buy something from you. Okay, so here we're on the trust area, and you trust people because you know them. And a few promise boosters that I recommend are using testimonials. So if you're making that promise, I am very relaxing, or I know I'm a great German teacher, I'm a great English teacher, you want to find voices from people who have actually taken that leap of faith of working with you, because it really is a leap of faith for a lot of people. And those people will ideally say nice things about you, or just encourage other students to try and work with you. And you want to add their voices to the forefront of your website and make that really widely known. Secondly, the blog, because it's so much about personality and because you are so unique in your own way, you know, you want to, all those different attitudes, all those quirky images that you're using for yourself, you want to communicate those in your blog. So Barbara has just commented, says she's attentive, funny, and a good listener. And then again, think about how can you communicate that in your blog? Like attentive, I think is fantastic. And you can, I often think of blog topics as I'm teaching. When my student does a specific thing and I'm thinking, oh, stop doing that, don't get into that bad habit, that's not a very good idea. And then I try to write a blog article about it and say, oh, here's a bad habit I have observed in my students, which sends people the message that, you know, I'm here during the lessons and I'm paying attention and I'm really invested in your well-being. And similarly, that attentiveness, you might be able to communicate that in a similar way. Multimedia, I just want to encourage you to consider Lindsay's lovely little cartoon and also Leandra's video. Both are fantastic ideas. Multimedia is a great way. Or something I do is that I publish a monthly podcast called the Creative Language Learning Podcast, which you can find on my website, fluentlanguage.co.uk, which further kind of helps me illustrate what I believe and what I do in language learning. And finally, run some activities. And I've got a great example here, which is the IGLC, the Instagram Language Challenge on Instagram. It's organized again by the wonderful Lindsay Dow from Lindsay Does Languages. And Lindsay is she's really extraordinary in all the different stuff that she puts together. So what Lindsay has done on the Instagram Language Challenge is she gives prompts for people to participate, take a picture every day whenever they want to, in any language, add it to a new word or vocabulary, tag it with hashtag IGLC, and it's using a channel that is really very popular among the target group that would be the right people who are interested in a kind of relaxed attitude to language learning. And it also fosters a community. So I think these activities are really fantastic. And I've also worked in various different ways with people, put it on YouTube challenges. So just kind of keep experimenting and have fun with it. It's about much more than just listing yourself on a directory. It's always about kind of going out there and showing people what you got. Okay, so now let's get to the bit about delivering those lessons, delivering that amazing relationship. And by amazing relationship, I mean one where you're keeping your promises and your student isn't disappointed. And for that, I have put together the 5-step booking process. If you're in my Udemy course, you will be aware of this. And if not, I'll just tell you later where you can find out more about it. But ultimately, this is what the 5-step booking process consists of. And it's a consistent way of getting a student to connect with you and taking them from that first point of connection through a trust-building process up to the point where they are booking you and they are working with you on a regular basis. So first of all, have a central place of inquiry. A central place of inquiry means that your student may get in touch with you through Facebook, they may see you on Twitter first, they may see you on Italki or on your website, but wherever they're inquiring about working with you, is there a way that you can direct them to perhaps an online registration form, or you can just send them a central email, so you always get the same emails to the same place, and just kind of bring them into your house, basically. Bring them into your process and introduce them to the way that you like doing things. So have that central inquiry place so that straight away they become familiar with your brand and your promise. Ask them a lot of questions. Because it's really about putting the student at the center of what you're doing, and also working out, and this is something I talk about in the Savvy Brand Toolkit a lot, working out, are these guys your ideal students? Are these actually right for you? You know, what is it that they want? If they are very focused on exams, if they're very focused on getting into, like I had this experience once that I share, where I thought I had it made because I was going to teach this young Korean kid, and his parents had well connected in my local community, and they would have they wanted to get him into private school, and I was very excited to really boost this guy's chances of getting into the private school, and yay, it was fantastic. And if only I'd asked them a lot of questions and taken their answers seriously, I would have known right from the start that this is not the right student for me, because ultimately what they wanted from me was so much more than I could and was willing to give. What I wanted to do was have fun and teach him some German and practice with him. And what they wanted me to do was coach him for 15 exams that I'd never heard of. So this was never going to work. And if only I had had a sensible conversation with them at the start, we could have both saved ourselves a lot of, to be honest, wasted work. Because if you build a relationship with a student and the student isn't right for you, what happens is you put in all this work, and you just have to abandon it when the relationship falls down. So just be aware of that. Not every student, not every client is right for you. So ask those questions. And the other thing about questions as well is that your students will be excited about making contact with you. It might be the first time they've contacted a tutor, and they will want to know a lot about you. So if you give them a chance and you push them a little bit and you open up that space where they can talk about themselves, usually it's going to make your students feel more comfortable. Allow that trust to build. That's my third important step in the booking promise. Allow the trust to build. And then we're moving on to step 4, which is try the software and the chemistry. So this is not about getting somebody to your free consultation as quickly as possible, because if you do that, you're just going to waste a lot of time. What I believe is that free consultations should be and are very, very valuable, because they prove that the software works, they prove that you and the student have great chemistry together, and that this is going to, you really see this working out. You've got a good feeling about this, which is important for a long-term coaching, teaching relationship. But don't throw that in within 3 days of getting their first email. If you don't feel comfortable with it, just ask them more questions over email, really get an impression of what they're like. And it also has the advantage that it invests them in the process so much more. And finally, when all this is done and you've had your consultation and you really know, and you've negotiated prices, and you're ready to send your first invoice, that's when you award your regular spot. That's when you award the regular spot to your student, and you kind of say to them, okay, Tuesdays at 6 works for me, works for you, let's go with it. And then again, you've built so much trust at that stage that they just know this is going to work. And to me, this is the way to keeping my promise. If I say I'm going to be there, and if I say this is how I'm going to work with you, then this is exactly how we're going to work together and what's going to work for us. So the 5-step booking process is this, and I think this is really essential. If you want to find out more about it, I do have a Udemy course, which is focused on particularly terms and conditions, and also the practicalities of which software to use, how to, whether you should use a course book, what to do when your video connection completely collapses. So all the different practicalities I've learned in online teaching in 2-3 years now, I'm kind of sharing those with you on the Udemy course. And I really just encourage you to enter the sweepstakes on the website, because you're so, you're in with, right now you're in with almost a quarter chance of winning a free place. How fantastic is that? Bob's already on the course and he's really enjoying it and he's shared that with me recently, so I'm really, really pleased about that. I just wanted to share this course with you. So that's the Udemy course, Live Lesson Strategies for Online Teachers, it's called. And I think that is pretty much it for me. So just be aware, the key branding consistency matters. And if I just pop out of this presentation a little bit. Is about this question. What do you want your promise to be? That's the core question. What do you want a student to believe about you so that they get in touch with you? Is really, if that really is, if all you want them to believe is, I want to work with this person because they are professional. If you think that's enough to convince somebody, then that's fine. But my gut feeling, and from what I have seen out there, because the competition is high, it might not be enough. So what are you besides professional? You can be many things. You can be, and this is the idea of the quirkiest image. What's the craziest, quirkiest, most unusual thing you can say about yourself? So I love the way that Barbara earlier said she was funny. And I think it would be a fantastic idea that, just why not go on YouTube and tell some foreign language jokes, and have a giggle with people. If you are funny and you want to deliver lessons that are fun, I think that's a great idea, and just really get going. So whatever the promise is that you're making, that is the core question of this. And that is how you're going to deliver on those promises that you're making. I'm just going to pop into Facebook and switch my video sharing back on and say hello to you. Hello, here I am. As you can tell, I've taken my coat off because it's getting a bit warm in here in Northern England. So I just really want to thank you, especially Barbara and Bob, for watching live, for playing along here in Facebook and telling me about this. And Barbara's just added into her Facebook, added into the Facebook comment. So she's already said she's funny and attentive and a good listener and happy. And there's this little sort of dancing Snoopy, doing the Snoopy dance, which is exactly, that's what I'm talking about, Barbara. So communicate, at the start of this, and this is what I enjoy about, say, something like Savvy Brand Toolkit or the Savvy Brand Academy. Every now and then I run it as a course, but right now it's the Savvy Brand Toolkit. And what happens, or what I have seen happen, is that I had English teachers who are professional and qualified going in, and I had coming out bootcamp teacher type, relaxed teacher type, fun, out-of-the-box, quirky teacher type. And they all became sort of much more distinguishable and different people. And this is what brand is about. It is about being more distinguished. It's about being remembered for something and making those promises to your students. So just one more time, the final question of how to deliver amazing lessons. The core of this is, what do you want your promise to be? And once you know what you want your promise to be, you just have to think about how you're going to deliver on that promise. And that is it. Okay, I'll see you guys at 2 p.m. BST. I really, really hope that you're going to check back in with us. Excuse me, when Gabby and I are joining you, and I think Lena might or might not make it. She's in the USA, so it's early morning for her. And it's also Saturday, so I'm not sure she'll be able to make it. And we're going to run our FAQs. So no matter what questions you have, or there's also a few people who have left us some feedback questions, give feedback on their various different pages, etc. So I'm going to try and get as many of those in as possible. But whatever questions you have, just join me and Gabby at 2 p.m. British sunshine time, British summertime. You can convert the times at timeanddate.com or worldtimebuddy.com. Or by simply shouting at Google, what time is it in England? That also works. And until then, I will see you later. My name's Kirsten, and you can find me at fluentlanguage.co.uk. And do not forget to enter the competition and check out our awesome discounts at fluentlanguage.co.uk/show discounts. Bye, guys.